Has Ryan got work?
Well, last night he did.
Shalom Israel, Shalom, brother Naquan.
Shalom, brother Amos.
Shalom, brother Kadash.
Giving all honor and glory to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM Mashiach YAHAWASHI. Double honors to the elect elders of the house of David and these various camps that taught us this truth and been the truth before us. That's still laboring to this very day. Giving another hearty shalom to all of the Akim out there, the brothers out there laboring on the highways and byways throughout the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth out there, sealing the hope of the elect, and condemning these wicked nations. And another shalom to all of the brothers out there that may not be out there on the highways and byways, but they working to get them to that level. They studying and reading, guiding their households with discretion and prudence. And another shalom to the Akwath out there, helping the brothers out, by any means, you know, raising the children up and reverencing their husbands and sincerity in the truth. And what else? Let's go to Acts.
Acts 18 and 4.
Acts 18 and 4. All right, so Shabbat Shalom, Yahawah BaHashem Yahawashi Barakatam. All right, peace and blessings be multiplied. Shalom to everybody on the comment board. All right, closing out the Feast of Tabernacles tonight at sundown. All right, most I would want everybody having a mighty Feast of Tabernacles. All right, so let's bring that out. Acts 18 and 4.
Acts chapter 18 and verse 4. And he reasoned in a synagogue every Sabbath and persuaded the Jews and the Greeks.
So every week, every Sabbath, we're going to continue to persuade all the Jews who know that they're Israel to continue in the faith, continue keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments, and to those Grecians who are the Gentiles who are following the customs of the Greeks to come back to the fold while you still have time to repent, learn your nationality, and go as hard as you can in these last days, be on fire, avoid all manner of wickedness. And the way we do that is by Philippians 4 and 13.
It's Philippians 4 and 13. I can do all things through Hamashiach, which strengtheneth me.
So through the spirit of Yahawah BaHashem Yahawashi, we're able to break down these precepts. We're able to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments. We're able to get an unction on how to even understand any of these scriptures. Because in the world, you will read the Bible and you be confounded just by opening it. Right? So that's mercy and grace right there, being able to understand this. So today, we're just going to touch on some Q&A.
Right. Q&A, another Q&A, because we never had time to get to all of the questions that Akim and Akwath have out there. And there's a lot of times they can't get their questions answered. You know, that some people are isolated. They don't have camps or brothers around them to edify them. So a lot of questions they may write down in their notes. They really can't bring it out. So we here to help you out through the spirit and power of YAHAWAH YAHAWASHI. All right, so any questions? Do women have to work? Now that's from Israel Yasha'Allah. Do women have to work? Women do not have to work. You understand? If the woman wants to work, she can work. All right. Proverbs 31 is work. Work don't always have to be working in a corporate office or in a cubicle or doing Esau's work, warehouse work. The work is also found in Proverbs 31, teaching the younger woman. Let me bring that out real quick. Okay. What you got? Yeah, you can read whatever. So this is the work that woman has to do, or she must do.
Proverbs chapter 31 and verse 12. She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. She seeketh wool and flax and worketh willingly with her hands.
All right, so women did that. They was out there sewing garments, making coats like the women in the book of Acts. I believe Dorcas, she made coats and garments for men of the Lord. All right, during the winter seasons, they had some clothing to keep themselves warm. All right, it's more than that, right?
Mm-hmm. She is like the merchant's ships. She bringeth her food from afar. She riseth also while it is yet night and giveth meat to her household.
Right. So the work is taking care of her household, food, clothing. Go on.
It says, and apportions her maidens. She considereth a field and buyeth it.
Hey, the work, she was out there buying fields, considering that's a good field. I know my husband, he has this many oxen, this many what else? Horses, you understand? This many bullocks. If I get this field, it's this amount of acres. Here, let me go buy this field. That's a beautiful thing right there, man. All right, go on. So woman wasn't just sitting around watching watching whatever they be watching now, man. Bad Girls Club.
Soap operas.
Yeah, watching you on Netflix all day, eating ice cream. You know what I'm saying? And you got women that are going from house to house in the ancient world. Let me bring that up when you done that.
With the fruit of her hands, she planted a vineyard.
Right? She was gardening. Right? Go
I'm gonna skip down to verse 21. She's not afraid of the snow for her household, for all her household are clothed with scarlet.
and that's expensive material. All right, back in the ancient world.
She maketh herself coverings of tapestry, her clothing is silk and purple.
Right?
Her husband is known in the gates when he sitteth among the elders of the land. She maketh fine linen and selleth it, and delivereth girdles unto the merchant.
Right. You're gonna read the whole thing.
Yes.
But when the woman should read Proverbs chapter 31 and see the different work that the woman did. All right. So that's work that women can do. Some women, some men, they don't have their women work in the household. Depends on your however you want the man want to run the household. You know, if the man and a woman they talk about it, she want to work a part-time job or a job and she's gonna help bring in an income. Some men don't have it, they don't want their woman to work and they do all of the work and may have a side business on the side or whatever the case may be. It all depends on the man or if she's single, the work that she can do is still in Proverbs 31 or things like that, make garments and stuff of that nature. But if you got a place, you got to provide for yourself if you're single, or you got to get a job. You can't just sit there and rely on people to take care of you if you're a single woman in the truth. You got to work, especially if you got kids.
This is Titus chapter 2 and verse 2. I started verse 1. But speak thou the things which become sound doctrine, that the aged men be sober, grave, temperate, sound in faith and charity and patience. The aged woman likewise, that they be behavior as becoming holiness, not false accusers, not given to much wine, teachers of good things, that they may teach the young women to be sober, to love their husbands, to love their children, to be discreet, chaste, keepers at home, good, obedient to their own husbands, the word of God be not blasphemed. So all those are in the lines of work. Right? That's a heavy lot to hold up to be a righteous woman.
Yeah.
You know, so you got to be a keeper at home, and you got to teach the young women. You got mind you, these young women are coming out of the world, so they know the ways of Esau. So you got to break down these strongholds and build them up in the faith. That's a tough task right there. That's
Right.
hard work.
Let me read this. This First Timothy chapter 5 and 2. The elder woman as mothers, the younger as sisters with all purity. On the widows that are widows indeed, but if any widow have children or nephews, let them learn first to show piety at home and to requite their parents, for that is good and acceptable for the Most High. Now she that is a widow indeed and desolate trusteth in the Most High, and continueth in supplications and prayers night and day. That's part of the work too. It says for widow, but women as well, they should be continuing in prayers night and day. All right, you got your spiritual work and you got your physical work. Verse, I'm gonna jump down to verse 10. Oh no, 11. But the younger widows refuse, but when they have begun to wax wanton against Hamashiach, they will marry, having damnation because they have cast off their first faith. And withal, they learn to be idle. So women, they can't be idle. All right. And withal, I believe it's here in Proverbs, she eateth not the bread of idleness. Proverbs 31. It says, and withal they learn to be idle, wandering from house to house, and not only idle, but tattlers also, and busybodies, speaking things which they are not. The woman on the phone, girl, did you hear what this brother did? Oh, you wouldn't believe this. Yeah, brother Gabar did so and so to brother Thomas. Oh, girl, he did what? Going from, I'll be over there in a minute. So that's what women do in the world, man. Women can't be doing that in the truth. Busybodies and that gossiping and all of that madness, man. You know, so there's a righteous role for women in the word. That's what it says in verse 14. I will therefore that the younger woman marry, bear children, guide the house, give none occasion to the adversary to speak reproachfully. For some are already turned aside after Satan. So some women, they already went after Satan. So you can't be a woman that wants to turn aside after Satan in the ways of the world. Young women are supposed to marry and guide the household. Not wait till you're 35, you travel the world and work your 9 to 5 and thought yourself out, and then you say you want to get married. You know.
Somebody said, as a mother, what can we teach or not teach a heathen child? That's a tough question.
As a mother, what can we teach? So they have a heathen child? Is that what they're
Yeah, I'm
asking?
guessing so. Pretty much it's up to you.
Yeah, that's up to you. If you
How the
want-
Spirit guide you to teach that child.
Yeah.
I know a sister like that. She teaches her children commandments, basically. I mean, because technically all the heathen are going to keep the commandments in the kingdom, but yeah, like Amos says, it's up to that person, the
Yeah.
parent.
That's right. That's discretion. All right.
Somebody said, if my hair is long past my neck, do I still have to wear a head wrap? The answer is yes.
Right. Let me bring it up the scripture.
I got it right here.
Uh-huh.
This is 1 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 3. But I will have you know that the head of every man is YAHAWASHI, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of YAHAWASHI is Yahawah. Every man praying or prophesying having his head covered dishonoreth his head. But every woman that prayeth or prophesying with her head uncovered dishonoreth her head, for that is even all one as if she were shaven. For if a woman be not covered, let her be shorn. But if it be a shame for a woman to be shorn or shaven, let her be covered.
There you have it. So you always got to cover your head. All right. So that even in the law in Numbers 30, or Numbers it's in the book of Numbers about how the women would have to cover their head for the law of jealousy. All right. It's Numbers chapter 5 and 18. And the priest shall set the woman before the Lord and uncover the woman's head and put the offering of memorial in her hands, which is the jealousy offering. And the priest shall have in his hand the bitter water that causes the curse. So the woman always had their head covered regardless of the length of your hair. All right. So what does it mean? What does it mean for Caesar? So I speak the truth. Regia, what does it mean to render to Caesar what is Caesar, and to the Most High what is the Most High? All right, I believe that's in the book of Matthew. I want to read the account first. All right, that's a good question. What's in Luke? I believe it's in Luke 21. Oh, that's what it is?
No, that's just,
oh, yeah, you can read that. Con, you got it.
Luke chapter 2, verse 1. And it came to pass in those days that there went out a decree from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be taxed. And his taxing was first made when Cyrenius was governor of Syria. All right, so basically, it's just paying taxes. That's what renting to Caesar's was Caesar's, and then renting to the Most High's was the Most High's is. Everything outside of that, like doing the work or during this time, could have been the tithing and the offering, or giving your fruits and vegetables to the Levites to lay up in the storehouse.
There's more than that, right? Because Joseph paid taxes when you read the rest of this. I'll read on.
Yeah.
And this taxing was first made when Cyrenius was governor of Syria, and all went to be taxed, every one into his own city. And Joseph also went up from Galilee out of the city of Nazareth into Judea, which is the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, because he was of the house and lineage of David, to be taxed with Mary, his espoused wife, being great with child. So our forefathers had to pay taxes, right? Here's the account in Luke 20 and 24. Show me a penny whose image and subscription hath it. They answered and said, Caesar's. He said unto them, render therefore to Caesar the things that be Caesar's, and unto the Most High the things which be the Most High's. So, you can't be talking about I'm an Israelite in the truth, and I'm not paying my rent. I'm not paying my taxes. Look, I'm an Israelite. I have sovereignty over all the nations because I come from the house of Yasha Allah. So I want these heathen to pay me taxes. I'm not paying rent. I'm not working. I'm not paying no fines. I could park anywhere. I'm a god on that earth. Look, brother, no, brother, you can't do all that, man. Get the Lord said, get this man was his, and then get to the Most High was his. You in captivity, you got to be wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove. Y'all wish I paid taxes, man. All right.
And that's being carnally minded, man.
Yeah.
You worried about these I'm a God on the earth, so I shouldn't have to do this. This Colossians chapter 3 and verse 2. Set your affection on things above, not on things on the earth. So that's what's given to the Most High. What's the Most High? He requires us to walk in spirit and to keep faith. You know, mind you, we in this flesh, but at the same time, you gotta be spiritual and judge all things spiritually. Right? I had a brother break down saying we didn't have to pay taxes and tolls because he read the book of who was that, Nehemiah?
Brother said we got to rip up our Social Security card and go into the wilderness
because they wrote a decree that that anybody in Israel shouldn't have to pay tax and tolls. He was like, see, I can go to a toll and show them this scripture and I don't have to pay it. Now, that's folly, man. Showing you unlearned, man. Because we subject to the higher powers because we're prone to go off, man. That's Romans 13.
That's right. And I got this is Matthew 17 and 24. And when they were come to Capernaum, they that received tribute money came to Peter and said, does not your master pay tribute? Because they was trying to catch up Yahawashi and see what he was coming with, what doctrine he was pushing. They wanted to accuse him of anything. He said, yes. And when he was coming to the house, Yahawashi prevented him, saying, what thinkest thou, Simon? Of whom do the kings of the earth take custom or tribute? Of their own children or of strangers? So they said, look, do the Romans, do they tax their own people? Do they tax the strangers, which are the people they have in captivity? Peter said unto him, of strangers. Yahushua said unto him, then are the children free. So if you're paying tribute, it's a sign that you have been taken captive. All right, so you're paying taxes with the opportunity to still practice your customs and your lifestyle, but you still got to pay tribute to your enemy. All right, so when you got Jake saying we free, you're not free. Anytime you look, it don't matter what kind of business you own. You're a multi-billionaire, so-called Black, Hispanic, or Native American man. If you're paying taxes to another nation, you're still a prisoner of war. You're taken captive. You know, verse 27. Notwithstanding, lest we should offend them, go thou to the sea and cast an hook, and take up the fish that first cometh up. And when thou hast opened his mouth, thou shalt find a piece of money. Take and give unto them Slakia for me and thee. So Yahushua pay taxes, man. All right. In Romans 13:1, we brought that out. Let every soul be subject to the higher powers. The powers that be are ordained of the Most High. Whosoever therefore resists the power of the Most High. All right. So that means stop at a red light. That means wear your seatbelt when you drive. Don't say, you got a lot of brothers in the truth that they get pulled over and they start cussing out the police officer, man, and throwing curses on them instead of, and the officer just said, how you doing today? You know, look, did you know you had your flat tire? And you got the brother saying, look, man, according to the Third Amendment, look, the Lord will destroy you. Look, brother, you know, the Lord said, agree with thine adversary when thou art in the way with him. You know, lest he deliver thee to the judge, and you won't come out till you pay the uttermost farthing, paraphrasing. So you got to just be circumspect and know how to navigate in this society, man. All right, what's the next question?
Somebody said, why wasn't Simeon mentioned in Deuteronomy 33?
Simeon, let's go to it. All right, so Israel, just be circumspect, you know, pay attention, you know, and know how to navigate through a society that's against you, man, to survive. All right. So Deuteronomy 33, it's kind of like Genesis 49, dealing with the blessings of the nations. One is dealing with Jacob's blessing, and one is dealing with Moses' blessing. And it's dealing with it's like I'm trying to skim through it without reading the whole thing. Reuben, Levi, bear with me, Benjamin, Joseph, Zebulon, Gad, Dan, Naphtali, Asher. So when it says Joseph, that's really dealing with Ephraim and Manasseh. All right. That's why sometimes when you read about the house of Joseph, it's going to say Ephraim and Manasseh. All right. We went over that in the last Sabbath service, I believe, when we were going into how Joseph has two portions within the tribes. That's why Dan is listed, but you don't see Manasseh. All right, because Joseph has Ephraim and Manasseh. Right. Let me go to that real quick. This Numbers chapter 20 and 27. We went over this previously. All right, Numbers chapter. So I believe it's 27. Bear with me 1 second. Now, that's a good question though. Numbers chapter. Bear with me. What is that Numbers chapter? I might have to check my notes. Bear with me 1 second. All right, well, instead of going to that, while I find that, let me go to Genesis chapter 48 and 1. All right, I'm gonna find that most I willing. So this Genesis 48 and 1. And it came to pass after these things that one told Joseph, behold, thy father is sick, and he took with him his two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. And one told Jacob and said, behold, thy son Joseph cometh unto thee. And Israel strengthened himself and sat upon the bed. And Jacob said unto Joseph, God Almighty appeared unto me at Luz in the land of Canaan and blessed me, and said unto me, behold, I will make thee fruitful and multiply thee, and I will make of thee a multitude of people, and will give this land to thy seed after thee for an everlasting possession. Here's the point though, verse 5. And now thy two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, which were born unto thee in the land of Egypt before I came unto thee into Egypt, are mine. As Reuben and Simeon, they shall be mine. So the Lord said, Jacob is basically saying, coming from the Most High, that the same way Reuben and Simeon being some of the firstborn sons of Jacob is the same way that Ephraim and Manasseh are going to be, quote unquote, adopted into the 12 tribes of Joseph. Joseph had a double portion. Joseph had two sons born into him in Egypt. He had Manasseh and Ephraim. So you read about Joseph is really going into the blessing of Ephraim and Manasseh. That's why you don't see, sometimes you don't see Ephraim, or sometimes you don't see Manasseh, what is listed in 12 tribes. All right, let me bring this up one real quick. This Numbers 1 and 32. All right. Numbers chapter 1 and 32, and it reads, of the children of Joseph, namely of the children of Ephraim, by the generations after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of their names from 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go to war. So it says the children of Joseph, namely the children of Ephraim. Because sometimes you see Joseph, but it's really talking about the house of Ephraim. All right. So most are willing to answer that question.
Somebody said something about the book of Jubilees, talking about prophecy. Leave that book alone.
Right.
Stay in the scriptures.
Yes, abstain from all of those extra books, man. Right. Let me go to the classic Ecclesiastes 12 and 12. No book of Jubilees, no book of Enoch, no
Book of the Mormons.
Yeah, Book of the Mormons, but that book of Jasher Spirit. Brothers can't even break down Daniel the 2nd chapter in detail, and they want to go into another book. How are you going to not finish what's on your plate and then, but I want to go try what's on that plate? But you can't even finish. You can't even finish your own food, right? Ecclesiastes 12 and 12. And further, by these, my son, be admonished of making many books. There is no end, and much study is a weariness of the flesh. So just abstain from all of those books. You're going to end up wearing yourself out. Oh, I just ordered this book. Well, let's check out this book. Now, like I got a book on the table. This is a historical atlas of the Bible and a visual guide from ancient times to the New Testament. So this book is good for if you want to get into like some geography and maps. You understand that's what atlases are for, timelines and things of that nature. There's nothing wrong with getting certain books like this. But when it comes to books that are claiming to be missing books of the Bible, and hey, leave that stuff behind, man. All right. This Second Chronicles 12 and 15. Now the acts of Rehoboam, first and last, are they not written in the book of Shemaiah the prophet, and of Iddo the seer concerning genealogies? And there were wars between Rehoboam and Jeroboam continually. So nobody has the book of the genealogies of Idol the prophet and the book of Shemaiah the prophet. These things are going to be given to you all at hidden manna, seven thunders. You'll prophesy in whole, not in part, in the kingdom of heaven. All right, so if there's books and accounts listed that man don't have, and Numbers 21 and 14 on down, it speaks about the books of the wars of the Lord, man. Nobody has the books of the wars of the Lord. And if you claim that you have it, you don't have it, or you have some plagiarized copy of it. Just stick to the scripture.
Deshaun Dillard, yes, you could be forgiven. All manner of sin is forgiven except for blasphemy of the Holy Spirit.
Let me read it real quick. Matthew 12 and 31, right? You can be forgiven for any sin. And it reads, all manner, Slaki, wherefore I say unto you, all manner of sin and blasphemy shall be forgiven unto men, but the blasphemy against the Holy Spirit shall not be forgiven unto men. And I'm going to link that up with this. This is 1 John 1 and 8. Right? 1 John 1 and 8. And it reads, I'm going to start at 7. But if we walk in light, Slaki, but if we walk in the light, as he is in the light, we have fellowship one with another. And the blood of Yahawashi HaMashiach, his son, cleanseth us from all sin. If we say that we have no sin, we deceive ourselves, and the truth is not in us. So everybody sins. I sin, Amos, Kadash, everybody's going to sin. If you say that you're not sinning, then you're playing yourself, right? You lying to yourself. Verse 9. If we confess our sins, he is faithful and just to forgive us our sins and to cleanse us from all unrighteousness. So there you have it. All right. What else we got?
Hold on, I had one. It said, how do I know the Lord is dealing with me?
All right. Well, how do you know the Most High? The Most High is dealing with everybody. It depends on what he's doing with you, what he's using you for. So if you talking about in terms of righteousness, you want to make sure, or if you want to understand how the Most High is dealing with you, it just comes with you really understanding His Word. If you waxing stronger, if you're growing in knowledge, if you're growing in understanding, that's really how you know the Most High is dealing with you. All right, I can't really get too specific on that. That's between you and the Most High.
This Hebrews chapter 12 and verse 5. And you have forgotten the exhortation which speaketh unto you as unto children, my son, despise not the chastening of the Lord, nor faint when thou art rebuked of him. For whom the Lord loveth, he chasteneth, and scourgeth every son whom he receiveth. If ye endure chastening, Yahweh dealeth with you as with sons. For what son is whom the Father chasteneth not? So you know the Lord's dealing with you if you catch your hell in this truth. You shouldn't be walking in this truth and everything be as it was in the world. Sirach 2, it says 2 and 1 says, if you come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. So you got to be tried as gold in the fire. And the Lord going to try you if he's dealing with you. If not, he's going to let you continue with your folly and your foolishness.
That's right.
Somebody said, how we know we're getting close to the seventh seal.
All right, well,
I got you.
All right. Some Revelation, the sixth chapter.
This is Revelation chapter 6 and verse 12. And I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black in a sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood, and the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. So this is the sixth seal. Is going into utter destruction, man. The wars of the nations, and the fig falling like a untimely fig from the tree is going into the nuclear missiles coming to hit in America. So the sixth seal is going into all-out World War III, bombs over Baghdad type war going on.
Right. So all you have to do is go through these different prophecies. When you read Matthew the 24th chapter, Luke the 21st chapter, Mark the 13th chapter, these in the Gospels, they speak about the signs of the times. All right, they speak about when we know the Lord will make his second coming. Right? Let me go to that real quick. Matthew 24 and 3.
Like David Hughes will be at the harbor today.
Con. Matthew chapter 24 and 3. When as he sat upon the mountain of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? So there are different clues given to you to let you know when the Lord will make his second coming. I gave you a few chapters, but that's not all the chapters. You got Second Ezra 9, 1 on down through about 5, Second Ezra 5. These chapters give you a list of the signs of the times that you're living in. And the seals are going to be explained throughout the books of Revelation. Mainly in 6 chapters, going to go through these seals. So right now you're in the 4th seal. The 4th seal is escalating. The 5th seal is going to be during the time of Jacob's trouble, leading up to World War III, when the 6th seal is open and the Lord will make his second coming. The 7th seal being when everything's done and complete. All right. So you're going to know you're living in the 7th seal, because if you're part of the elect, you're going to be in the chariot. Right. And if you're not part of the elect, the missile's going to hit you. And that's when you know, hey, look, the 7th seal is here. I'm done. All right. So there you have it.
Can households be saved by your works?
Con. Households can be saved.
An example is Cornelius.
Right. You brought out a precept, I believe, like 3 weeks ago. I think it's one in Acts. Let me go to Acts 10. Dealing with Cornelius. So you can have a whole household to be saved. All right, you know, it's not a strange thing in the eyes of the Lord. All right, this Acts. Let me see if I can find the exact precept. This Acts chapter 10.
Acts 16 and 31. I think that's the precept I'm going to.
All right, I'm going to find this one in Acts 10. Most I will.
Yeah, I'll bring this out. This is Acts chapter 6, and I'm going to start at verse 28. But Paul cried with a loud voice, saying, Do thyself no harm, for we are all here. Then he called for a light and sprang in and came trembling and fell down before Paul and Silas and brought them out and said, Sirs, what must I do to be saved? And they said, Believe on the Lord YAHAWASHI, and thou shalt be saved and thy household. And they spake unto him the word of the Lord and to all that were in the house. So if you're doing the works, which is believing on the Most High, keeping the commandments, keeping the faith, and you're the head of that household, your household can be saved through your works. So the answer would be yes.
That's right. Hey, Noah and his wife were saved. Lot and his family, because Lot was righteous.
Acts chapter 16 and verse 28.
Wait, what'd you read?
Acts 16 and 28 to 30 to 32.
Okay. Hold on, bear with me. Bear with me 1 second. Acts 11 and 14, that's what I want. This Acts 11, I'll start at 13. Dealing with Cornelius. And he showed us how he had seen an angel in the house, which stood and said unto him, Send men to Joppa and call for Simon, whose surname is Peter, who shall tell thee words whereby thou and all thy house shall be saved. So there you have it. Cornelius and his house could be saved. Lot and his daughters were saved. With the potential, even his sons-in-law were going to be saved, but they thought that Lot was mocking, saying that this place was about to be destroyed. There's different accounts of men's households being saved. And you can't be like, I'm going to move into this, but I want to move into Brother Kadash's house, right? Because I know his house going to be saved. It's not what it's talking about, man. It don't work. You can't sneak into the kingdom. Oh, man, Amos and righteous, man, let me see. Hey, look, Amos, look, I can't pay my rent. Can I live with you? You know all hell about to break loose. You try to move into Amos' house and try to be protected. Don't work like that, man. You got to work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. All right? So where we at?
Somebody said, what did Deuteronomy 14 and 1 mean?
Oh, the cutting. Hey, back. Oh, I know some
baldness in between your eyebrows.
Right. Back in the ancient world, a lot of these heathen, these Canaanites, they'll be putting tribal marks and cuttings and a head and a face. You know, you'll see Hamites and they'll be having these cuts looking like deep scars in the side of their face and between the eyebrows. That's what that's going to uh, um, a sign of mourning for the dead, where men would cut themselves.
Like Japhites, they still do that today. Like the
So on, man.
Samoans, they do that. If you've seen the movie X-Men with Nightcrawler, his face looks like he cut it up,
Yeah,
like
I'm gonna text
the
you
Most High
about you.
tells us not to do in Deuteronomy 14:1, and how Jake kind of does it on a minor level today with some Jakes will cut their eyebrows to make it look like a type of design, but it's still, an appearance of evil
Right.
to abstain from.
Right. You got the law. You want to read it?
Deuteronomy 14:1, ye are the children of the Lord your God. Ye shall not cut yourselves, nor make any baldness between your eyes for the dead.
And I'm gonna link that up with this. This is Leviticus 18:2. Speaking to the children of Israel and saying to them, I am the Lord your God. After the doings of the land of Egypt, wherein ye dwelt, shall ye not do, and after the doings of the land of Canaan, whither I bring you, shall ye not do, neither shall ye walk in their ordinances. So in Deuteronomy 14, Leviticus 11, from the dietary law to the moral laws to adultery, these are things that were being done by homosexuality. These are different sins that were being done by the
Incest.
Egyptians. Kind of excess.
Incest.
Oh, incest. Kind. Yeah. Incest. Wisdom of Solomon specifies it in the 12th chapter. Feast of blood.
Witchcraft.
Odious works of evil.
Sacrificing children.
That's right. Eating babies.
Mm-hmm.
These are things that were being done by the heathen. So the Lord said, after the doings, don't do. That's what that's going into.
And that's why he told us to utterly destroy the Canaanites and to not take wives of the Canaanites.
No, that doesn't mean you can't cut your unibrow. Like if you was cutting it for like one of your dead friends that passed away, that'd be going off.
Con, I'm gonna find this. See if I can find. Thought it'd be easy to find African cuts. Slovakia.
Africa's
Tribal.
Tribal markings.
All right, bear with me. You can go to Google and type in African tribal markings on your phone. Ooh. Now my phone. Ooh. You see that one?
Oh, man.
So this guy. I mean the phone. Y'all won't find my phone.
I'll get it.
My phone is not looking good. But hey, these are clear examples, man. All right. Once you type in African tribal markings, you can't miss it. You clearly see what Leviticus 19, Deuteronomy 14, Wisdom of Solomon, the 12th chapter is going into. Look at that guy. That's what it's going into. Don't do that. All right. You can't do stuff like that. What's brother with the round head? Yeah, that's off. You know, a lot of them Hamites, man, they do the
There you go.
oh, Khan. Yeah, he off.
They're not even straight lines.
Yeah, the brother got spirits on him. And a lot of people, they think that's beautiful. Oh, he has 17 marks. He's a man of riches and wealth.
It's a mark for every person they killed.
Yeah.
Killmonger.
Right. You don't want to be like that. All right. Somebody asked when we preaching at the harbor, we're going to be out there around maybe 4:45, 5 o'clock, most high willing. All right. What's Lamech's Cain's great grandson? Well, just go. All you gotta do is just go through the genealogy in Genesis, the 4th chapter. Let's go to that real quick. You said what?
That answer would be no.
Yeah. Just go to Genesis, the 4th chapter, and it deals with Cain, Enoch, son, Methuselah. No, that's his great grandson. Or that's his great grandson.
No, they said Cain.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Cain had Enoch. That would be his son. Enoch begot Irad. Irad begot Malhujael. All right, that would make that his great grandson. That would be his great grandson, Lamech. Great grandson, sons of the wicked. So Lamech was off. You know, Lamech said, let me read about Lamech real quick, Genesis 4:19. And Lamech in the Hebrew means mighty or powerful. Because Lamech was powerful and mighty on the left-hand side. You got a Lamech that you read about in Genesis, the 5th chapter. I believe the father of Noah was Lamech. Methuselah had Lamech, and Lamech begot Noah. Lamech means powerful. You have one on the right-hand side that was righteous, And he died. He gave up the spirit when he was 777. So that's powerful right there, man. Completion. Then you had a man that on the left hand side, Lamech. And Lamech took unto him 2 wives. The name of the one was Adad, and the name of the other was Zilai. And Adad bare Jabal. He was the father of such as dwell in tents, and of such as have cattle. And his brother's name was Jubal. He was the father of all such as handled a harp and an organ. So his sons, Lamech's sons, was taught in all manner of wickedness, from engineering to physics to the domestication of animals. They were chief. You said what?
Marriage.
Yeah, marriage. Chiefs, blacksmith. Tubal Cain was a weapon maker. It says, and Zillah, she also bare Tubal Cain, and instructor. So in order to be an instructor, you got to be on a high level. An instructor of every artificer of brass and iron. He can make any type of weapon, any shield, any dagger, any sword. Because remember, Esau's blessing, he's been given a sword. And Lamech said unto his wives, Adad and Zillah, hear my voice, ye wives of Lamech, hearken unto my speech, for I have slain a man to my wounding and a young man to my hurt. So he told his wives, I accidentally killed the man. And we have reason to believe that he murdered this man, being one of the wicked. That's how Esau, he'll kill somebody and he'll be crying on the news. They had that woman doing that, man.
Right.
What's her name?
Amber
Geiger. Sitting there, oh, I didn't mean to kill him. I'm so hurt.
And he got cool.
Yeah. And they had to give up and give him a hug, man. Here's the first account of that happening. Lamech said, I have slain a man to my wounding. That hurt me, man. Damn,
That was a little too rough.
Yeah, that was that broke my heart how I murdered that man.
Too much blood.
Look, wives, listen to me. So here's the first account of the sons of the wicked. All right. It says, I have slain a young man to my wounding. I mean, a man to my wounding and a young man to my hurt. If Cain shall be avenged, and this is why he did it. Because he said, if Cain shall be avenged sevenfold, truly Lamech 70 and sevenfold. So he tried to take on the blessing, so-called blessing of Cain. Because he knew that when Cain murdered somebody, he wasn't going to be punished for his crime. So the Lord dealt with him. So Lamech thought if he could murder somebody and falsify it, he could take on that blessing and enhance it and say, look, it'll be 70 times sevenfold for me. So he's trying to steal from the Most High and create his own doctrine, for lack of better terms, man. So here you have Lamech being wicked. And the Lord never told Lamech that. That's what Lamech said out of his mouth. All right, so where we at?
Somebody said you legally have to change your name.
No. No, you got certain camps that saying you have to legally change your name. But
there's no verses on that.
Yeah.
That's honestly, that's not being wise. It's not being circumspect.
Yeah, you don't have to. I know brothers that do, but you don't have to do that. You can if you want to.
It's not a requirement.
Right.
You really don't have to go to Esau's court systems for anything, honestly.
That's right.
Just try to stay out of it at all costs.
Yeah, get caught up in there. All right, where we at? How you had a question? All right, Hebrew Israelite. How can I go about telling my mom and missed the question.
So how do you tell? So how do I go about telling my mom's husband the truth when his mom is a Edomite and his stepfather is a Jake?
Well, you just gotta deal with it. You just gotta bring it out to him. You gotta in your mind gotta be like, look, it don't matter who they are. I'm gonna just bring it out to them. Hopefully they get it. Yeah, don't let that be a factor to inhibit you from stop trying to at least show them that they Israel. Through the curses. Maybe you could bring out some different descriptors of the men of the Lord, from YAHAWASHI to Solomon, and different the angels of the Most High. Then maybe you could draw their spirit to it that way.
Someone said, can anyone in the comment? Oh, never mind. How do we deal with Christians that use Mark 7:18, Acts 10:9, Romans 14, 1 Timothy 4 to say it's okay to eat unclean foods?
Okay. So Acts 10, let's quick one. It could be one cut for each one. What was the first one?
Mark 7:18.
So that's dealing with food, washing your hands, I believe.
That what's that word? You had to
Follow the tradition.
Right, follow tradition.
So this is Mark 7 and 18. And he saith unto them, Are ye so without understanding? Also, do ye not perceive that whatsoever thing from without entereth into the man, it cannot defile him, because it entereth not into his heart, but into the belly, and goeth out into the drought, purging all meat. So people got to understand the context. When you're reading these verses, you got to keep things in this proper context. So the topic of this context is washing your hands, right? How do you know that? You jump to verse 5. Then the Pharisees and scribes asked him, Why walk not thy disciples according to the tradition of the elders, but eat bread with unwashed hands? Yahawah basically said it don't matter if your hands are washed or not. You understand? Look, it's going to be wasted anyway. It's waste and it's going to be turned into waste. The things that defile you come from within your heart. Adulteries, fornications, wicked lust. These things defile your whole mind. All right? But these unclean foods defile your spirit too. So they said Mark 7, Acts 10 and 9.
Mhm.
All right, let's go through that real quick. Mark 7 out the way. This Acts 10 and 9. On the morrow, as they went on their journey and drew nigh to the city, Peter went up upon the housetop to pray about the 6th hour. And he became very hungry and would have eaten. But while they made ready, he fell into a trance and saw heaven opened, and a certain vessel descended unto him, as it had been a great sheet knit at the four corners and let down to the earth, wherein were all manner of four-footed beasts of the earth, and wild beasts, and creeping things, and fowls of the air. And there came a voice to him, Rise, Peter, kill and eat. But Peter said, Not so, Lord, for I have never eaten anything that is common or unclean. And the voice spake unto him again the second time, What the Most High hath cleansed, that call not thou common. This was done thrice, and the vessel was received up again into heaven. So basically, Peter didn't eat that unclean food. The four-footed beast, the wild beast, creepy things, fowls of the air, these different beasts, they represent men. Sometimes in the Bible, you read about beasts, but they're referred to as men. But it's men that's not being cleansed. Men that don't have, they're not made after the image of the Most High. All right? Like when you go to Psalms chapter 49 and 20, here's a precept to let you know men are referred to as beasts. Because all of those unclean beasts just represents the Israelites that are unclean, living like the Gentiles. All right? In the Hellenized state. Psalms 49 and 20, man that is in honor and understandeth not, he is like the beast that perish. So you had Israelites that were living in a Greek state of mind, they were like the beast that perish. So when the Lord had these vessels descend, it was talking about them living unclean. All right, I got a quick precept. This Hosea chapter 8 and 8. All right, bear with me. Hosea chapter 8 and 8. And it reads, Israel is swallowed up. Now shall they be among the Gentiles as a vessel wherein is no pleasure. Because the Israelites, or the house of Israel, the northern kingdom, and other Israelite foreigners, the Lord said, now they're going to be like a vessel wherein is no pleasure. And what was in that vessel? Unclean beasts. Because Israel went off, the northern kingdom and the other Israelite foreigners, and started doing the works of the Greeks, rather came to cutting their beard down, not wearing fringes, eating food sacrificed to idols, not circumcising the children, going to the Diana of Ephesus, going to Olympias and Jupiter, you understand, and doing food sacrifice to their gods. All right, but when you go to the point in Acts 10 and 28, it lets you know it's not talking about actual food. Right? That's why if you go to verse 28 in that same chapter, right? Acts 10 to 28, and it reads, And he said unto them, Ye know how that it is an unlawful thing for a man that is a Jew to keep company or come unto one of another nation. But the Most High showed me that I should not call any man common or unclean. So it was talking about man. Or it's not talking about pork. You can't eat pork. You can't eat a dead body. You can't eat feces, shrimp. You can't eat none of that, man. What was the next one? Mark 14. Romans 14. Romans 14 is dealing with food sacrifice unto idols. And there was another one. 1 Timothy 4, right? Let me go to that one real quick. I wanted to address each one.
Romans 14, 17.
Kind of bring it up.
For the kingdom, Romans 14 and 17, for the kingdom of God is not meat and drink, but righteousness and peace and joy in the Holy Ghost.
Right. So I'll give you a quick example. Romans 14 is dealing with food sacrificed to idols. If Kadash came to the truth, and in his mind, he says, look, we can't eat meat. All right. He says, no, we can't eat meat. I say, brother, well, we can't eat meat. Now, we go out to eat, and I try to force God to look, you back, get this steak. Why don't you get this steak, man? Look, get it well done. Look, it don't have to be bloody. I know we can't eat no more blood, but let's try the steak. He said, no, look, I don't want to try that. Look, I know, look, it's not good to eat meat. No, you can eat it. Look, you don't have to press your brother out to eat that, man. If you don't want to eat meat, you don't have to eat meat. The kingdom of heaven is not in meat or drink, but in what is saying, righteousness?
Your righteousness and peace.
Right. As long as you keeping the commandments, you understand, you're abstaining from all appearance of evil, then you'll be fine. Now you had men that were going to marketplaces like in Ephesus, Thessalonica, and they would sell meat into shambles. You had meat sold in shambles, meat sacrificed to idols, meat that was strangled where the blood wasn't released and it still had blood in it. And men would buy these foods when they were dedicated to their so-called gods. And there was a whole disputation going on trying to figure out if you can eat these meats or not. So that's what Romans the 14th chapter is really going into. All right. Like it also says, let me see this real quick. Salakia. I can just pull it. I thought you had it open. I'm gonna bring this quick precept out. Romans. It's in Romans 14, where it says it's neither good to eat or drink wine, whereby I may make my brother to offend. Here it is, Romans 14 and 21. It is good neither to eat flesh nor to drink wine, nor anything whereby thy brother stumbleth or is offended or is made weak. So why would he say it is not good to drink wine? When I thought in the Passover, you had to drink wine. But it's going to look, if he's coming to the truth, Amos, he was an alcoholic in the world. I'm not about to sit there and press him out to drink wine. You understand? He don't have to drink wine. If he don't want to, he don't have to. You had Israelites in Rome that were struggling with this food sacrifice to idol thing. You know?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And last one, 1 Timothy 4.
First Timothy chapter 4 and verse 4.
You can read one.
Verse 1.
Context.
Now the Spirit speaketh expressly that in the latter times some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils, speaking lies and hypocrisy, having their conscience seared with a hot iron, forbidding to marry.
So some of these wicked doctrines and seducing spirits are men that say forbidden to marry, like these Catholic priests, right? They say you got to be celibate your whole life, when the Lord said be fruitful and multiply.
And commanding to abstain from meats which the Most High created to be received with thanksgiving of them which believe and know the truth.
So these meats, they'll say, well, you can eat pork. Or it says to them which believe and know the truth. What is the truth? The truth is in Psalms. Let's bring the truth out. Classic. Psalm chapter 119 and 142. What is the truth? It reads, thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth. Right? So if you believe and know the law, then you'll know what foods can be sanctified through prayer and what foods are clean. Right? Psalms 119 and 172. My tongue shall speak of thy word, for all thy commandments are righteousness. All right? You finish that.
In verse 4, for every creature of God is good and nothing to be refused if it be received with thanksgiving.
Right, so what to tell you in the previous verse is to them which believe and know the truth. So if you know the truth, then you'll understand that these foods, according to the dietary law, are sanctified through prayer. So when you pray over the food, the Lord sanctifies these foods that are according to the law. All right, that's all it's going into.
It's Romans 3 and 31. Do we then make void the law through faith? God forbid. Yea, we establish the law. So the law is forever.
There you have
4 and 1.
And someone by Myra Brown, she said, any scriptures or advice to help women raising children in a different home than father? And is he teaching Christianity? And he is teaching Christianity, taking her to church and celebrating holidays in his home.
Wait, read the question again, Salaki.
Any scriptures or advice to help women raising children in a different home than father? and he is teaching Christianity, taking her to church, and celebrating holidays in his home.
Well, all you can do is, try to do what you can on the side and still teach her. Get in her ear when you can.
And pray.
Yeah, pray and pray that the Most High open up both of their spirits to receive the truth. That can be tough. Being in a household where a husband is into the world and a woman is in the truth, and the child is being raised in the direction that the man is bringing her to. But all you can do is really pray, fast, that the Most High open up their heart to receive the truth, and get in the sister ear or the young sister, your daughter. It's a daughter, right?
And say,
Oh, son or daughter, whenever you can.
and
You know.
you can also pray that they forget all that Christianity and celebrating holiday stuff. Like they just completely just forget about it.
Yeah, I got a precept too.
Let me make a quick point. Timothy's father was a Greek, right? Timothy's father had a Greek, but his mother was in the truth. But Timothy wasn't raised up. He didn't go out into the ways of the Gentiles. He was raised up as a Jew that believed. So the Lord he could have had Timothy go astray into the way of his father like a Greek, but the Most High opened up his heart to receive the scriptures because it started from his youth. It says, from a child thou has known the holy scriptures. So if you train up the child, if you can get in their ear when they can and constantly pray and fast, then eventually that Holy Spirit will overcome the world like light overcomes darkness.
And also know you're not the only person going through that. So just keep the faith and stay strong.
Right. It says in First Peter. Let me bring this out real quick.
That's what I'm at.
Oh, 1 Peter 4:12.
No, but I was going to throw it on. We go to 4:12.
Oh,
I need some of that tea, man. First Peter 4:12. Beloved, thinking not strange concerning the fiery trial which is to try you, as though some strange thing happening to you, but rejoice in as much ye are partakers of Christ's suffering, that when his glory shall be revealed, you may be glad also with exceeding joy.
Right. So don't be concerned that you're going through a fiery trial. Everybody have to play the hand that they're dealt. Right. My hand or the tribulation that I got to go through is different than what Amos got to go through. Is different than what Kadash got to go through, or it could be the same.
I'm actually Maya Brown. I'm gonna put myself out there. Let me read this verse first.
Like that.
Huh?
No, go ahead.
I said Myra Brown. 1 Corinthians 9:22. To the weak became I as weak, that I may gain the weak. I made all things to all men, that I might by all means save some. I'm going through the same situation. So, like I said, the only thing you can do is really pray, fast, and try to teach them when they get to that age.
Right. That's right. It's going to be hard. You're going to have a lot of influences on your sons and daughters out there. Even if you got both parents in the truth. Hey, the world is out there, man.
Yeah.
The world raises up these children now. It's a heavy vibration of witchcraft and sorcery and maliciousness and evil out there. So however you can always got to get into the sons and daughters' ear. Let me read this law real quick. It's Deuteronomy 11. We'll bring out 11 and 19. Deuteronomy 11 and 19. I'm gonna start at 18. Therefore shall ye lay up these my words in your heart and in your soul, and bind them for a sign upon your hand, that they may be as frontlets between your eyes. And ye shall teach them your children. So this is what you got to do. Speaking of them when thou sittest in thine house, when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, because church is only one day of the week. All right, but you got the whole 6 days to be in your son or daughter ear. When you in the way, before they go to bed, when they wake up, you know what I'm saying? Speakest of them when thou sittest in thine house, when thou walkest by the way, when thou liest down, and when thou risest up. And thou shalt write them upon the doorposts of thine house and upon thy gates, that your days may be multiplied, and the days of your children, in the land which the Lord sware unto your fathers to give them, as the days of heaven upon the earth. So just plant that seed and constantly water it. It's going to be a lot of Satan trying to pluck out the word. You know what I'm saying? Like the fowl that came and plucked the seed up in the parable. You got to constantly plant that seed.
And watch what your kids are watching on TV, the tablets, the computer, all that.
Yeah. Who they hanging around.
You got to constantly watch that, because we in that Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas season.
And also, since the child lives with the father, he might be playing some inappropriate music for that child. So you also gotta pray that that child isn't that spirit don't hop on him as well.
Somebody said delete the TikTok app too. I'm not sure about that.
I heard about it, but yeah.
But all praises to Yahweh. Kwam Yasharala asked, if you aren't circumcised, could you still be saved?
Yeah, you can still be saved. Let me read this real quick. Now, men, they should be circumcised. If they build up the faith and get them that level, you should be circumcised. Right? But just because you're not circumcised, I mean you're not going to be saved. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 7 and 19. I'm going to start at 18. 1 Corinthians 7 and 18. Is any man called being circumcised? Let him not become uncircumcised. So if you are called into this truth, being circumcised, don't be uncircumcised, meaning don't go back into the world or to the ways of this world. You have men that actually tried to, quote unquote, reverse the circumcision.
I was about to get there.
Right. That's in Maccabees 4.
Second Maccabees 4 and 15.
It says, let him not become uncircumcised. Is any called in uncircumcision, let him not become circumcised. Because in the last days, you got a lot of brothers whose mothers, look, they wasn't circumcising their children. So if they're called into the truth being uncircumcised, the Lord said, let him not become circumcised. Verse 19. Circumcision is nothing, and uncircumcision is nothing but the keeping of the commandments of the Most High. So what's the most important is keeping the commandments. Eventually, if you build up on the faith, I know men that are in the truth that were called into this truth uncircumcised, and they said, well, I'm not getting circumcised, but eventually they reached the faith. They read about Abraham doing it in his elder age, being 99 years old, I believe, and they said, look, I want to be like Abraham. I want to be like Timothy. Like, I'm going to get circumcised. And they went through it, all right, because they built up their level of faith. It's not a necessity to do it, but if you are on that faith level to do so, go ahead and do so. All right, let me bring this up real quick too. This Colossians chapter 2 and verse 11, and it reads, all right, so we got some good questions going on. Colossians 2 and 11, in whom also ye are circumcised with the circumcision made without hands, and putting off the body of the sins of the flesh by the circumcision of Hamashiach. So the circumcision made without hands is a circumcision of the heart being done by the Spirit, cutting the unclean parts of your mind, and you have a clean mind. We have the circumcision of the heart, and you have the circumcision of the flesh. All right, the circumcision of the heart trumps the circumcision of the flesh, because you can be circumcised in the flesh and be wicked as hell in your heart. You know, or you can be circumcised in your heart and be uncircumcised in your flesh, right? That's what Romans, the 2nd chapter, is about. It's about the hypocrisy of Jews that were circumcised in the flesh, getting on other Israelite foreigners who are not circumcised, but they were hypocrites because they wasn't keeping the law. Let me bring that up real quick. Let's get a precept.
Nah.
All right, this is
Priest Kahan says Shalom. Shalom, Priest Kahan.
Shalom, YAHAWASHI, Priest Kahan. All right, this Romans chapter 2 and 25. And it reads, for a circumcision verily profiteth if thou keep the law. But if thou be a breaker of the law, thy circumcision is made uncircumcision. Because circumcision is a sign to let you know, look, I'm an Israelite. It's a physical, it's like a physical sign to let you know, look, yes, I belong to the Most High. Like if I was to brand Kadash with my initials on it, look, you belong unto me. So the Lord had Abraham remove the foreskin of his penis, which is a sign, a token of his faith, and another sign to let you know, look, now you belong to me. You and your seed, they belong unto me. All right. So that's what that's about. And it profits if you keep the law, because Israelites were bound to keep the law, all right, through the law of Moses and law of sacrifice. It says, you about to say something? It says, but if thou be a break of the law, thy circumcision is made uncircumcision. So what's the point of being physically circumcised if you're going out murdering somebody, or you raping everything you see, or eating dead animals, right? There's no point in saying, look, I'm circumcised. It don't matter, all right? It's like having a company. Let's say you work for, what's the top company? Apple. I guess Apple, Google, whatever. You know what I'm saying? You say, yeah, I work for Apple and Google. And you don't know how to fix a damn phone. You don't know how to fix nothing. You don't know how to use the internet.
Troubleshoot.
But yeah, here you go. You walking around with your Apple, you know, your badge. And look, I'm like, hey, I work for Apple. I do. And brother, look, can you help me log on to the internet? I can't do. I don't know how to do that.
Faking it till you make it.
Yeah. So what's the point of having a uniform on if you're not doing the work that comes with the uniform? The circumcision is a uniform that lets you know, boom, you're supposed to be keeping the law, statutes, commandments, right? Let me read verse 27. And shall not uncircumcision, which is by nature, if it fulfill the law, judge thee, who by the letter and circumcision does transgress the law. But he is not a Jew, which is one outwardly, neither is that circumcision, which is outward of the flesh, but he is a Jew, which is one inwardly, and circumcision is that of the heart and the spirit, and not in the letter, whose praise is not of the Most High, but of men. So what it's saying is, it don't matter if you physically circumcised or not, as long as you believe in YAHWASHI and you keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. All right? Because if Kadash is physically circumcised, he could be boasting on that, but he could be wicked. And I could be uncircumcised, but I believe in my mind. I can still get on him. Yeah, I don't care if you circumcised or not. Look, brother, you going off. He can't say, well, look, I'm circumcised in the flesh. I can tell you what I want to tell you. You can't do that. My circumcision is inwardly. I'm not a Jew based on my outward appearance. All right. Like you got a brother, he may not be able to grow a beard out. And you getting on the brother, brother, you ain't no Israelite. You ain't growing your beard out. Well, brother, I can't grow a beard out. You know what I'm saying? But I still believe and I'm keeping the commandments. Just because you got a beard don't mean you're a top Israelite over me. So that's the circumcision and uncircumcision dynamic of the word.
Sure, this is Romans chapter 8 and verse 6. For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace, because the carnal mind is an enmity against Yahawah, for it is not subject to the law of Yahawah, neither indeed can be. So how can you walk in the flesh and condemn brothers in the flesh if your spirit is completely off?
That's right.
That's a catch-22, man, because now you're condemning yourself, because scriptures say by thy words I'll be justified, and by thy words I'll be condemned.
That's right. I got a quick precept. This is all the way back in the law. Deuteronomy chapter 10 and 16. Circumcise therefore the foreskin of your heart and be no more stiff-necked. All right. So the real circumcision is of the mind. Now you can be physically circumcised. That's good. That's part of the covenant that the Lord made with Abraham, right? In Genesis, the 17th chapter, and it's the law in Leviticus, the 12th chapter. All right. So yes, you should be circumcised, but if you're not, you can still make it to the kingdom of heaven. All right. So what's the next question?
Someone said, who are the Japhites today?
All right. Well, everybody know that. Japhites are the so-called Polynesians. We'll put it like that. Hawaiians, Samoans, Aboriginals of Australia. These are
those many owls.
Yeah, the word Japheth goes back to Yapath or Yapah, which means beautiful. All right, and they lived in the Isles. So the Gentiles that you read about in Genesis, the 10th chapter, a lot of them used to live up in Europe. That's why you got a lot of men saying that Japheth is the so-called white man, because they'll see these lands like let me go to Genesis 10, like Ashkenaz, which is like Germany. You don't understand by France, and they'll say, well, look. The so-called Jew, he's an Ashkenazi Jew, so that means he's a Japhite. But that land is Ashkenaz, but he's the seed of Amalek living in the land of Ashkenaz and man, if that makes sense. So he's an Amalekite by seed, but geographically he's an Ashkenaz, so-called Jew.
So you're like Gog and Magog.
Right.
They're really Edomites, but it's just the region that they live in.
Right. I'm gonna bring that up real quick.
They have ancient artifacts of like the Etruscans and Greece. Like you'll have they look like so-called black people, but they're really Japhites and not Israelites.
Yeah, with the Etruscans, you had ancient civilizations. That's a good point. And Europe prior to the Esau coming in there, you had the Samnites. Before the Roman Republic was established, they had wars against the Samnites and the other tribes in Latium. You had the Etruscans up there, and you had other so-called Japhites up there in Greece before the Macedonians and these Edomites went up there and slew them and took them out, right? A lot of them was exiled and banished, right? And Esau began to slowly inhabit Europe, and the Japhites that were once in that land, they were exiled to these different islands and these different places.
Yeah, it was the Minoans, the Mycenaeans, and then the Etruscans.
Right, you can look that up. The Minoans, Mycenaeans, the Etruscans, also the Samnites. You said Etruscans already, right? These are different Japhites, so-called Black Greeks, prior to Israel being Hellenized by the Greeks, if that makes sense. And let me find this precept real quick. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 10 and 1. This is what the scholars call the so-called Table of Nations. Now, these are the generations of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and unto them,
Table of Nations.
all praises. All right. And unto them were unto them were sons born after the flood, the sons of Japheth, Gomer and Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshach, and Tyrus, and the Teres, and the sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz, Repath, and Togarmah, and the sons of Javan, Elisha, Tarshish, Kittim, and Dardanum. Like Tarshish is modern day Spain. Javan and Kittim is Greece and Italy. Right here go the pictures of these of them living out there in Thrace and Elysium and these modern day Greek states. So we got to pull it up. Can you see it? Yeah, they can see it. Those are Japhites. All right, they kind of look like some dark skinned Hawaiians or Polynesians. They look like the Rock.
Yeah,
one of them brothers look like the Rock on there. One of these Samoans.
You can even see with the hair that they have like the same hair texture today, and the noses too. You can see a little curl in the front. You can see it's like a pointy nose and things of that nature. You look at the Samoans today, the Rock. He's a great example.
He's Samoan?
Like that. Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
He might hold on, Slocky. I think his dad's
an
an
Israelite,
Israelite,
was a
but his mother's a Japhite.
Like what's the Jason Momoa?
His last name Mimosa.
Yeah, the Aquaman. Jason Momoa.
Oh, he a Japhite?
What's it? Momoan? Something.
Here's another picture of them. It's clearly not Israelites.
Right, there you have it.
He look like Egyptians.
Yeah. So all the nations prior to Esau are dark nations. Esau's the first nation that come out with no melanin, wasted away. Ishashwa, he wasted away as he. All right, his melanin is stripped away. But again, in Genesis 10, when you read these sons of Japheth, real quick, these sons of Japheth, and you look them up geographically, they're European. I wonder if I can pull it up in this atlas. They're geographically European nations. But it says Ashkenaz because you had Jews, so-called Jews, that lived in Germany. That's why men say those are Ashkenazi Jews. Because geographically, yes, but through the sea line are Amalekites. Oh, you got it. You just want to pull it up? Pull up something.
No, I was just going to say, Esau don't really have his own culture because they try to be every land that they conquered. You're not gonna. The only time you learn about Greece in school is dealing with Alexander. You don't learn about Greece before him conquering it.
Right. The only way that you're gonna learn about, because I remember in high school they had me take a course in Latin, so we had to learn about the different societies that lived up there in Italy and Greece prior to Esau coming in there. Or you had that whole region called Latium, and you had Samnites and Etruscans, Minoans, and all these different societies that lived in there prior to Esau coming in there. But like that's a good point. They only teach you about Philip of Macedon, Alexander, and all these other Greeks coming around the 3rd century, because they want to erase the fact that they stole that land in the dark, not the Dark Ages, but prior to that time. You know. But if you were to look up how the lands are distributed by the flood or the sons of Japheth, Ham, and Noah, even the scholars give you a so-called biblical map where Ham is Africa, Shem is so-called the Levant, Mesopotamia, so-called Middle East, and Japheth received a lot of these European nations. So that's a good question.
Somebody said, "Where's the real Jerusalem?"
Jerusalem.
I think they're referring to the Peru doctrine.
Yeah.
Peru is not Jerusalem. Some of the brothers in HODC say Telerad is where the real area is. Nobody's 100% sure, but we know that is right along the continent of Africa, what is known as the Middle East nowadays.
Right. All right, where we at? Oh, that's a good question. Raw Hera When it says in Proverbs 25:21-22, for thou shalt heap coals of fire upon his head, does this mean we will defeat our enemies? Well, let's go to it. That's not what that's talking about. All right, that's figurative. All right. Proverbs
Was it 25?
21. It says, if thine enemy be hungry, give him bread to eat. And if he be thirsty, give him water to drink. For thou shalt heap coals of fire upon his head, and the Lord shall reward thee. So that's not literal. All right. Yeah, this is going into your enemy of your own nation. Let's say me and Kadash fell out, and Kadash is starving. You understand? I can help him out on a physical level, or if he's going through something, I don't let that get to me. I still help him out. You understand? So me doing that is heaping coals of fire on his head. Sometimes they say killing them with kindness is the best way to kill somebody, because that'll actually get to somebody. Man, why ain't letting me get to him, man? You're not allowing me to vex him. You know, that's really what that's going into. That's how you heaping coals of fire upon somebody's head. All right, it's not actually taking hot coals of fire. You basically killing them with kindness. You turning the other cheek, and you turning the other cheek is not what they really want you to do. A lot of people that vex you, they want you to get into that same demon that they got on them. But if you don't entertain that demon or heap coals of fire on them, it actually quenches them and put coals of fire on their head. All right, you actually tormenting them by not giving them the reaction that you want them to that they expect out of you. You know, that's all that's going into. And the Lord rewards you for turning the other cheek, because that's what Yahushua told you. He said, love your enemies.
It's Matthew chapter 18 and 21. Then came Peter to him and said, Lord, how oft shall my brother sin against me, and I forgive him 7 times? Till 7 times? And Yahushua said unto him, I say not unto thee until 7 times, but until 70 times 7. Right? So you got to keep forgiving your brother, no matter how many times he offends you. But don't be foolish.
Yeah.
That's being circumspect. Don't if Naquan steals from me every time I keep bringing him in my house, don't be an idiot.
Right. Yeah, just keep coming over. Hey, the Lord said he'll overmaster you, man. You know? And let me read this real quick. This Proverbs chapter 22 and 3. A prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. So a prudent man, he's going to be circumspect about who he deals with. That's a good example. Brother come over, he's stealing TVs and watches, and it start off little stuff. The remote come up missing, socks coming up missing. Lighters for incense, candles. Brother keep coming over. Next thing you know, chairs gone, TV's gone, beds gone. Brother knocking down walls. Or brother just keep coming over. He gonna consume everything you got, man. All right.
Shoot, back in the world, it was I had one of my homeboys. He used to carry a leash on his lighter, because every time he come around, brothers, he said his lighter would get stolen.
Yeah, well, see.
I mean that's
Yeah.
I mean that's forgiving your brother, but
Yeah.
that's being wise.
Yeah.
I got a precept right here.
Come.
This is Sirach chapter 12 and verse 8. A friend cannot be known in prosperity, and an enemy cannot be hidden in adversity. In the prosperity of a man, enemies will be grieved, but in his adversity, even a friend will depart. Right. So to really know somebody, you got to go through something with them. That's a part of forgiving your brother as well.
Right.
Like you got to get into arguments with people to really understand that's truly a friend.
That's marriages too. That's
Right.
marriage, relationships, anything.
Hardship.
You can't just expect everything to be good, good and dandy all the time.
You have to bump heads.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way you're gonna find out if that's truly a brother or a sister.
That's right.
Not saying go and start arguments, willingly.
Yeah. Just see where they at.
Even the apostles got into arguments and had to depart from one another.
Right. Barnabas and Paul.
Never trust our enemy, for like his iron rusted, so is his wickedness. And that go into Israel too.
That's right. We're about to go for about 10 more minutes.
Someone said, is it a reason? This is from TikTok Exports. Is it a reason why Seth was the first person to call the name of the Lord? Genesis 4:26.
All right, that's a good question. Now, he wasn't the actual first person to call upon the name of the Lord, because Adam knew the name of the Lord. Abel knew the name of the Lord. All right. Genesis chapter 4 and 26. And to Seth, to him also there was born a son, and he called his name Enos. Then began men to call upon the name of the Lord. So this is going into really what this is saying is the bloodline of the sons of God being established. The seed line is going to actually call upon the name of the Lord, Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, is being instituted on the earth. Because when you go to Genesis 5 and 2, 5 and 3, it says, and Adam lived 130 years and begat a son in his own likeness after his image, because Adam was made in the image of a repented man that fell. So Seth was made in that same manner. Adam and Seth knew the name of the Most High. All right. It says, Slakia, and begot a son in his own likeness after his image and called his name Seth. All right. So the name of the Lord, they always knew the name of the Lord, Adam, Abel, and Seth, but that's just going into the sons of God being established. Because Seth taught his son Enos, and Enos taught his son. Even that's how Abraham knew the name of the Lord. How else would Abraham know the name of the Most High?
How do you know? How do you know what to sacrifice and who to sacrifice to?
Right. The first thing that Noah did when he got out the ark was build an altar and sacrifice on it. Genesis 15, Abraham built the altar. Genesis 13, called the name of the Lord Yahweh on the altar. And what did they learn these names from? From their forefathers. All right. So when people say we don't know the name of the Lord or the name of the Most High was given only to Israel in the wilderness, they kind of don't know what's going on because the name of the Lord is forever. Yahweh is. Yah, he, Howah exists or to be. The name of the Most High is here, man, to this day. All right. The name of the Most High was placed upon us. We're made in his image. So we're moving in the name of the Lord. How could you not know the name of the Lord if you're going to have an elect moving in the name of the Lord? It wouldn't make sense. All right. So where we at? We're going to get a few more. We're going to wind down. Let me read this real quick about the name of the Lord. This is Sirach. My brother's looking for questions. Sirach chapter 17 and 10. And the elect shall praise his holy name. So if you're part of the elect, you're actually going to praise his holy name. All right. And it's not Jehovah. All right. It's not Yahweh. His name is not Jesus. God is a title. The name of the Most High is Yahawah. The name of his son Yahawashi. We say Yahawah. Ba, which is in, Ha is the, Sham is name. Yahawah BAHASHAM. Ha is the, Mashiach is Messiah. Wa is and. Malak is king. Yahawashi is he deliverer. So Yahawah BAHASHAM Mashiach wa Malak Yahawashi. Yahawah in the name, Yahawashi, the Messiah and king. Paraphrasing. All right.
Somebody said, can I fast on Sabbaths?
You shouldn't.
This is Judith chapter 8 and verse 6. And she fasted all the days of her widowhood, say the eves of the Sabbaths and the eves of the new moons and the new moons and the feasts and the solemn days of the house of Israel. So it's not really an Israelite custom to fast during the Sabbaths or the eves of the Sabbaths or the new moons or the feast days. It's not really a custom, but it's not really going off.
You don't.
Me in particularly, I wouldn't do it.
Hey, why would you fast on a feast day? It's a feast day. Yeah, that's
only other days.
Yeah. The feast day is a day of glad. It's about the Lord, man. So you don't want to fasting on a feast day or the new moon is putting yourself before what the Most High set this day up for. The Lord has exalted these days above other days. So don't just take these days and say, well, this day's about me. It becomes idolatry. That's why Judith didn't do that. She didn't fast on the eve of even on the eve of the new moon. Because that's the preparation day. You're gonna be doing a lot of work, cooking, cleaning, and getting things ready. So if you fasting, you're not gonna be doing your own pleasures. And you're not gonna, what is it, your daily activity, something, what's the way it's written? Bear with me 1 second. Something about your daily activities. Isaiah, you exact all your labors. That's what it is. Because on the eves of the Sabbath and the eve of the new moon, your labor is going to be done to prepare for that day. And when you fast, you don't want to exact all of your labors. All right. So no Popeye's chicken feast day. All right.
What?
Yeah. His brother's putting chicken emojis up there.
I think he's saying he's getting Popeye's chicken for the feast day.
Oh, okay.
I think,
Okay. Give the brothers the benefit of the doubt. All right. Somebody said we worried about the Rock being an Israelite. We're not really worried about it. Just want to be correct.
It's always something.
Yeah. All right.
Well, if you look according to scripture, when they came out of Egypt, they had to go through the sea, had to go through the Red Sea. Then they had to go into the land of Canaan and take over those lands for it to be Israel. So it has to be in the Middle East, or Africa.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
If you look at the geographical points, look, it's right here.
There you have it.
Nah, this is Paul's journey.
I mean, but that's still the
Yeah.
land. That's Judea right there.
It's right here. You can see. You probably can't see. You see, that's Egypt. So you have to go all the way through there. It has to be, not unless you're saying Egypt is over here.
Yeah, you got brothers saying this is modern day. They say somebody told me that Esau lied to us. That really America is Africa and Africa's America and is upside down. So we on a. They told us the map, but it's really upside down. So this what I was told, and I don't believe that. All right, how can we pay alms? Well, brothers and sisters, just help out.
Sure.
Charity, the homeless, things of that nature. Chicken is not unclean. You can eat chicken.
The Sons of Thunder did a real good breakdown on that too.
When unclean fowls.
Yeah, I saw one I wanted. Yes, you wear fringes to work,
Right.
unless you have like a dress code or you have a uniform that doesn't allow it, but you can wear it underneath your uniform.
Right.
Put them on your undershirts and just tuck them in.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Don't. You got brothers say you can only wear fringes when you're out there teaching. Yahawashi didn't only put his fringes on when he was out there teaching. He done teaching. Take my fringes off and relax.
I saw somebody say you only supposed to wear fringes in the land.
Well, hey, what?
Rehearse the righteous act.
Daniel, they had their garments and they things on in Babylon. Yahawashi, everybody had fringes on in captivity.
The Gadites and the Reubenites had fringes on over here.
That's right.
So let's cut the bullshit.
That's right. All right, we're gonna get about 3 more and we're gonna wind down. All right, we're gonna get about 3 more and wind down.
No, the serpent in Genesis 3 and 2 was not Esau because Esau wasn't around then.
Right.
You going backwards. It's that spirit that was in the serpent is in Esau today.
That's right. That's right. Known as the king of tyrants.
Huh.
All right. Esau's the prince of tyrants. All right. That's in Ezekiel, the 20th chapter. And there's breakdowns on that on the channel. All right. I have a garment precept question, if you can. Isaiah 59:17. Okay. I'm right there. Isaiah 59:17. For he put on righteousness as a breastplate and an helmet of salvation upon his head, and he put on the garment of vengeance for clothing, and he was clad with zeal as a cloak. So that's just going into Yahawashi about his righteousness and his power. It's not the Lord is not going to have an actual helmet and things of that nature on, but it's just talking about your spiritual garment. Like in Ephesians chapter 6 and 10 on down, it speaks about put on the whole armor of the Most High, from the helmet of salvation to carrying the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of the Most High, to even the feet or the shod, the preparation of the gospel of peace. So the whole garment on is arming yourself spiritually, being able to know how to serve the Most High, how to stop Satan from coming at you, how to be vigilant, and be aware that there's demons out here and that you have to fight against spiritual wickedness in high places. Yahawashi is coming back in all manner of righteousness and vengeance, but that's his spiritual clothing. And the Lord speaks about the devils, they're going to be clothed with shame. But that's not talking about putting the actual clothing on of shame, but it's just talking about that's their new covering. That's going to be the outward appearance, for lack of better terms.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Any other questions we got?
My mom said, answer Gregory Harris' question about Mary Magdalene.
All right. What's Gregory Harris' question?
Oh, he said, why did Mary Magdalene not recognize Yahawashi after the resurrection?
A lot of people didn't recognize Yahawashi after the resurrection. All right, let me go to this real quick. Bear with me. And I was reading that this morning. I believe it's in
the last book of Matthew.
Let me find this account real quick. Bear with me. A lot of men, even the disciples.
Yeah, what's the name?
Here, I got it right here.
Numbers.
This is Matthew chapter 28. I'm gonna start at 1. In the end of the Sabbath, as it began to dawn towards the first day of the week, came Mary Magdalene and the other Mary to see the sepulchre. And behold, there was a great earthquake, for the angel of the Lord descended from heaven and came and rolled back the stone from the door and sat upon it. His countenance was like lightning, and his raiment was as white as snow. And for fear of him, and the keepers did shake and became as dead men. And the angel answered and said unto the women, Fear not ye, for I know that ye seek Yahawashi, which was crucified. He is not here, where he is risen. And he said, Come and see the place where the Lord lay. Let me jump to
I got this
the
account
point.
too.
Go to verse 9. And as they went to tell his disciples, behold, Yahawashi met them, saying, All hail. And they came and held him by the feet and worshiped him. So they knew who he was.
All right, let me read this account too. This is the book of Luke, chapter 24 and verse 13. I'm gonna start at 12. Luke 24 and 12. I'm gonna start at 10. It was Mary Magdalene and Joanna and Mary, the mother of James, and other women that were with them, which told these things unto the apostles. And their words seemed to them as idle tales, and they believed them not. So they didn't believe that Yahawashi would actually do that. Then arose Peter and ran into the sepulchre, and stooping down, he beheld the linen clothes laid by themselves, and departed, wondering himself at that which was come to pass. And behold, two of them went that same day to a village called Emmaus, which was from Jerusalem about 60 furlongs. And they talked together of all these things which had happened. And it came to pass that while they communed together and reasoned, Yahawashi himself drew near and went with them. But their eyes were holden that they should not know him. So Yahawashi put into their spirit for them not to recognize him. All right. And he said unto them, What manner of communication are these that ye have one to another as ye walk in our sight? He said, What's all this talk about? Why y'all look like this? What's going on? And the one of them, whose name was Cleopas, answering, said unto him, Art thou only a stranger in Jerusalem, and hast not known the things which are come to pass during these days? And he said unto them, What things? And they said unto him, Concerning Yahawashi of Nazareth, which was a prophet, mighty in deed and word before the Most High and all the people. So that's a quick point. Yahawashi could block the minds of the people from recognizing him. So you could be talking to anybody out here. It could be the Lord. So you got it. That's what the Lord said. Be careful not to entertain strangers. For hereby some have entertained angels unawares. All right, let me read this account too. This is the book of John, chapter 21 and verse 3. Simon Peter saith unto them, I go a fishing. They said to him, We also go with thee. They went forth and entered into a ship immediately, and that night they caught nothing. But when the morning was now come, Yahawashi stood on the shore, but the disciples knew not that it was Yahawashi. Then Yahawashi saith unto them, Children, have ye any meat? They answering him, No. So they didn't know that was the Lord, right? And he said unto them, Cast the net on the right side of the ship, and ye shall find. They cast therefore, and now they were not able to draw it for the multitude of fishes. And that's spiritual too. You got ears to hear. Verse 7. Therefore, that disciple whom Yahawashi loved saith unto Peter, It is the Lord. Because John could actually recognize that was the Lord, because John was in the spirit. And he said, That's Yahawashi. Now, when Simon Peter heard that it was the Lord, he girt his fisher's coat about unto him, for he was naked, and did cast himself into the sea. So that's just showing you how the Lord could block the minds of certain men to not to recognize that that's Yahawashi. But the woman, plenty of the women recognized that was the Lord. You know? All right. You want to get one more?
I don't really see one.
All right. How could Moses have wrote the Torah in Genesis 34 and 5? Well, Moses was a prophet, right? Genesis chapter 34 and 5. So the Torah is the first 5 books of the Bible: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Genesis 34 and 5. So Moses, the servant of the Lord, died there in the land of Moab according to the word of the Lord. So this was already written. Moses wrote the first 5 books of the Bible. He prophesied and knew what would happen. All right, so he had to write this, and then these things transpire. That's what a prophecy is. All right, you write things, then they come to pass before they happen. All right, that signifies a prophecy, so it's not too complicated, you know. Let's got anything else? 5 o'clock.
Word.
Yeah. Right, and with that, this would be the Sabbath service. Most are willing brothers and sisters. Akim wa Akwath got edified, giving our honor and glory to Yahawah by Shema Mashiach like YAHAWASHI. For those that's coming out to come hear the word, we're gonna be at the Inner Harbor today. Are we about to head out there right now? Keep the Sabbath holy. Brother Naquan.
So, Brother Amos.
Brother Kadar.
Right? Yahawah by Shema Mashiach. Baraka Thumb. Shalom.
So,